Manuel Acta, Manny, bench coach de banca de los Marineros de Seattle.
Manny, I mean, it'll be an injustice to have this quick interview because, those of you who don't know Manny's been around for how many years now, Manny?
This is my 38th year in baseball. 21st year in the major leagues and counting.
Right, so if we were giving degrees out for amount of time in baseball, you would be very close to, if not already, in a doctorate degree on baseball. See, I got a master's degree. I'm still 35 years with the Latino MVP award, but bro, you got different sectors of this.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to that because we've done pretty much everything. Started as a player, didn't make it to the big leagues as a player, spent 6 years in the minor leagues playing, and then became a coach in the minor leagues, spent 10 years in the minor leagues as a coach, managing and stuff, and then had the opportunity to go to the big leagues. And in the big leagues I've been a third base coach, a bench coach, a manager for 5.5 years, done winter ball, both things, managed, GM, you name it. So yeah, I'm pretty close to get a master.
No, I think you passed the master's, bro. I think you just proved your case for a doctorate. I'm gonna have your name submitted to some university, the Latino Sports University or something. But listen, aside that, what was the first team you went to play with in the majors?
I signed with the Houston Astros.
Houston Astros.
Yes, and I was a fan of the Houston Astros since I was since I can remember, because back in those days we could only get like one game a week in the Dominican Republic, and usually they pick the teams that had the Latinos in it. And back in those days, the Astros used to have, Jose Cruz and Cesar Cedeno, Joaquin Andujar, Dicky Thon later on. So I was attracted to it. I also like colors, so they used to have that rainbow uniform.
Yes.
So I love the Astros, and I ended up getting signed by them. So I spent 6 years in the minor leagues, and then when they decided I didn't have the talent to play in the big leagues, they gave me the opportunity to become a coach, mainly because I learned how to speak English, and also because how I behaved among other people. And they gave me an opportunity that I would always be thankful for.
Well, you've been through so much, and you mentioned some very key things here in this interview. Things that people don't know. For example, the numbers and the names that you gave, and the fact is that the Houston Astros was one of the few teams. Like my father, we lived walking distance from Yankee Stadium. My father literally did not like the Yankees at all because he felt that the Yankees discriminated against Latinos. They could have had Victor Belliot being the first person of color, and they did not pick him because of his mouth, but they got Elston Howard instead. So during those periods, you've been through it. You've seen the growth and the development. Like we have our awards for 35 years, and thank you because you've always been supportive. You've seen the growth. What's really happening today when you see what's going on in terms of baseball and the Latino community?
The growth has been good. I think we can do much better, obviously, because we have so many Latinos in the big leagues nowadays. It's a great change, and that's why I have so much respect for the people who came before me, because I knew that back in those days, the guys like Victor, the guys like Mari Child, Rico Cardi, the Alou brothers, Manny Mota, and so forth, to name a few, Sandy Alomar Sr., a lot of those guys couldn't even go into restaurants and eat back in the day. And nowadays we have made so much progress that, hey, now in every ballpark that we go, they have to put Latin food out there for us to eat. So that's why I respect those guys so much, because when we think that we have it bad at times, I mean, those guys had it much, much worse. And the fact that they had the determination to look past through all that, the discrimination that they went through, it's unbelievable. And it's something that we need to remember. And a lot of the young guys nowadays, that's where they're lacking a little bit. It's about learning about your past and learning about the people that came before you. And you have to be very thankful and grateful, because we have so many people now, who have great lives, who are doing well in the business. And those guys have something to do with it, whether or whether you want to recognize it or not. So I think it's been great. There's been a lot of changes throughout the year, but I still think there's some to do.
This morning I was in the hotel and I was eating breakfast. I went to get my coffee. On the TV screen, they had Eva Longoria. And if you know Eva, she's not only a great actress, but she's also put her money behind a belief. She was the one that produced the movie Flaming Hot Nachos or something like that. If you haven't seen it, you gotta see it. It's incredible. It brings out about a lot of concerns that we have about the way Latinos, the way we're treated, and how, with like what Carmelo Anthony said when he received his induction into the NBA, he said, as a Puerto Rican, I'm proud, but you have to understand that being Latino, you have to work twice as hard. I mean, those comments being done today, not 20 years ago. How do you feel about that?
I think over the years, obviously things have gotten better, as I mentioned, but that's also something that we learned when we first came over here. When I signed, we were only allowed certain amount of Dominicans to come over here because of the visa issues. It was only certain amount, so it didn't matter how good you were. If there was not an opening to get a visa, you were not allowed to come over to the States. So obviously they were putting a limit on the amount of talent that could come over here. That went away, and that opened the floods for all these great players that we have in the major leagues. But back in the days, it was really, really hard because of that. So we have made a lot of progress, but I think there's a lot to do. I remember I hear the guys about complaining about the minor leagues and how tough it is and blah, blah, blah. Those guys that were before us had it tougher. And even in my case, I signed in the 80s. I had to be sleeping with another guy in the same bed. I had to be sharing an apartment with 4 or 5 guys so we could make rent at the end of the month, and the electricity bill and all that kind of stuff. And so we went through it. We came over here. Some of us didn't know how to cook. Somebody had to cook, whether it was good or bad. Somebody had to do the dishes. So when I hear those kids complaining, it's like, man, you know what? I went through worse times, and the people who came before me, I couldn't even imagine. That's why we have to be grateful, and that's why we have to keep pushing forward so things can get better for all of us.
My last question. You've been around from the beginnings of the birth, basically, of Latino sports. The fact that, we started out doing something just out of, it had to be done. When many felt that Ruben Serra should have won the American League Most Valuable Player in 1989, and they gave the Baseball Writers of America gave it to Robin Young, who also had a good season. But if you look at the numbers, you can argue that Ruben could have easily been also the one to win that award. And as a result of that, as a school teacher that was a teacher, and I never saw Latino kids, especially Puerto Ricans, were feeling very proud of anything, especially in those days, except junkies and guys driving big cars that were not high school graduates, not even junior high school graduates. I had to teach them that there was something different, and that's how the Latino MVP award was born. 35 years later, this award is still around. What do you think of the fact that there's a Latino award for Latino players only?
I think it's great. I think we love it when we're appreciated by our own people. And, they have all the awards here, and not every single one of them are going to be able to, to be distinguished with this other award. So the fact that our own people can choose, the Latino Player of the Year, Latino Pitcher of the Year, or whatever we decide, it's outstanding, because we do have, a lot of people that are pulling for us, and also we have a big market that it helps out MLB and all the other sports here. So I think it's great. And you said, it's been over 30 years. I still feel like there's a lot of growth to do in that aspect.
I mean, we've been told that this is like winning a Latin Grammy. and we heard Guerrero, Ivan Guerrero's son, who said when we gave him the award the year that Otani won, somebody in one of the reporters or one of the persons that saw us giving the award said, well, if it wasn't for that award, I guess he wouldn't be recognized. Who's going to beat the superhuman Otani? But, if it wasn't for Otani, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would have won that award.
It's a really good logic behind it. I mean,
can you be a superhuman?
But that's why they have the Latin Grammys.
That's right.
We have Latin Grammy. Why not have Latino Sports?
I don't know what they did in Japan to that young man, but 50-50 I mean, come on.
He's incredible.
He's either biogenically developed in Japan, or he's an alien, like my daughter believes.
He's a cyborg.
A cyborg.
Yeah.
And on the other side, you got Judge.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's great talking to you, man. It's always a pleasure. We're going to be talking to you more. This is going to be one of the live interviews in the new Latino Sports TV that we hope to develop, and people will be knowing a lot more about our history. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you, Julio.